We live in a world that's constantly bombarding us with pictures of perfection. Whether that's people with perfect lives, people with perfect bodies, or people with perfect habits, we always expect that everything's supposed to go smoothly for us, and I think a big reason for this is the advent of social media. Now, while you're probably here to learn about fitness, I think it's important that we learn how the messaging that we surround ourselves with unconsciously can affect our drive, our willpower, and even our perception of our own progress. So today I want to dive into how social media has had a huge impact on me, how I see myself, how I motivate myself, and what my expectations are for myself, and even how it might be affecting you and what you can do to stop it from negatively affecting your life. And even if you feel like social media isn't affecting you negatively now, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to dive into why surrounding yourself with seemingly innocuous photos of people can actually be pretty dangerous to your mental health. So with that, let's get into the video. So the first and most obvious reason that social media is detrimental to our health is body dysmorphia. I think it's been pretty obvious and been proven lately more and more on YouTube that many people are going through this. It's so common for our young people or even people who are older to have body dysmorphia because we are conditioned to see all of these perfect bodies in the limelight every single day on our feed. Whether you're looking at fitness influencers or whether you're looking at that person with the perfect hair. And the reality of Instagram is that most of what you see is actually the top 1% of people in the best lighting, the best conditions, with the best nutrition. I mean, everything has to go right for this one picture. And especially because most of us live in this isolated digital world nowadays, it's easy to assume that that's what everyone looks like, and then you feel like there's something wrong with you because you don't look like that. So maybe you're looking at someone who's a fitness model and they have ripped abs under the perfect lighting, and then you think, man, why don't I look like that? I must be doing something wrong. When the answer is, you really haven't done anything wrong. You just need to stay your course and understand that your genetics might even be far above average, but you're comparing yourself to someone who is so far into the elite level of aesthetics, under the perfect lighting, under the perfect circumstances, that it makes you feel like you're less. When we compare ourselves to these images that are taken under controlled circumstances, it's a losing battle every single time because there is no chance that you're ever going to live up to those expectations because we don't really see what it takes to look like that in that moment at any given time. They make it seem effortless and natural, but it's not, and it's not realistic. So if you're having a lot of body dysmorphia, it's probably a good idea to get off of social media. Now, the next reason that social media can be a problem is the illusion of a problem-free life. And this, I feel like, is a huge issue for so many people. We live in an age where we're now conditioned almost to think that life isn't supposed to have any problems. And the reason isn't because we're soft or that, we just are weak-minded people or we grew up with instant gratification. No, I think the answer is that we are bombarded with so many images of people who seem to have no problems in their life. What we see are the highlight reels, right? People traveling the world, people having amazing experiences with their significant other, people going into the gym and feeling amazing, people winning competitions. But the reality is that's not what every single day life is like for most people. Even for those people, they are showing you those 1% moments, the moments that they are on top of the world, and they're not showing you the 99% of the time where they feel like garbage just like the rest of us. The bodybuilder who shows up on stage and looks like he's smiling and happy even though he's shredded to the bone, 6%, 5%, whatever, doesn't show you the weeks and weeks of pure suffering and mental agony that it took to get there, right? Your favorite fitness model online who has abs doesn't talk about the fact that they want to binge on Oreos every single night, or that they want to cry, or that they need to go to therapy because they need to now fix their relationship with food and they secretly have an eating problem. But the point is, this creates a false sense of reality where we think that our lives are supposed to be perfect, and if they aren't perfect, then we're doing something wrong. And the answer is, you're not doing anything wrong. You are a normal human being. But if you're really starting to feel this way, it's probably a good idea to get off of social media. Now, another big issue with social media is paralyzing fear of perfectionism. And this kind of ties into the last one, but it almost creates this analysis paralysis issue in us where we know too much information and we think that we need to do everything right on the first try. If you go to the gym, a lot of times you have all this information about range of motion, about how many sets you need to do, about what muscle this is going to impact, about what your overall goals are, rest times. It's overwhelming, when the reality is you just need to get into the gym. Similarly, when you need to eat, you can have all of these thoughts. How is this going to impact my metabolic health? Is this healthy? How many added ingredients does this have? What is this going to do to my blood sugar? How many calories is this? When the reality is, you just need to eat and move on. But we are conditioned to think that everything needs to be structured, like there needs to be a plan for everything. And I'm a big fan of having routines in place, but routines are meant to take the mental load off of ourselves. When you start to make routines that involve you overthinking and overanalyzing, that routine can in fact start to become a prison and repetition of sorts that then create anxiety within themselves. It also creates this all or nothing mentality where a lot of times we can think if we miss one portion of the routine, then the rest of the day is a bust. In the same way that a lot of people struggle with diet and think that if they go off track for one meal, then they might as well just skip the rest of the day because it's done. But the reality is, you could probably just stop right there, do some damage control, and nothing else would happen. But it's paralyzing and it keeps you from making progress in your own life because you're constantly worried about the fear of failure. Now, I want to talk about how social media has personally affected my health. And it's been in all of these areas, to be honest. Whether it's the analysis paralysis, whether it's thinking that my life needs to be perfect, whether it's thinking that my physique needs to be better. I am currently on a journey trying to rebuild from a severe burnout and other health issues. And it's almost like I think that I need to have it now. It needs to be done tomorrow. My YouTube channel needs to take off tomorrow. And the reality is that's just not going to happen. And in the same way, I look at some of these bodybuilders and I think, oh, that's where my physique needs to be tomorrow. These are the habits I need to have tomorrow. And those habits take time. That discipline takes time. And I'm building towards that every day. And it's almost like I get into this fear where I can't reward myself because I think it's not right because it didn't go perfectly. Now, the other problems with social media have been information overload, right? Developing food anxiety because there are so many influencers preaching to us these elimination diets, or that our gut isn't right if we ever experience some sort of bad digestion, that something didn't work for us. When the reality is, it's just normal. Sometimes you might have bad digestion. Or the answer that if you get hurt or something, that it's completely your fault and you're never supposed to get hurt because it's the food that you ate or it's the supplement that you missed. In reality, people just get hurt. And the biggest issue I think has been so far with my thyroid. Now you guys know that I have hypothyroidism, or have been pretty honest about that here on the channel. And I was afraid to take medication for it for the longest time because I was told that if there was any single reason that a young man could have hypothyroidism, it means that it was his own fault. And I just spent all this time and energy trying to fix things myself. And it creates this idea that we are our own doctors, that we can just fix everything with some sort of food, some sort of supplement, some sort of new thing that we haven't tried yet that our favorite influencer is. But at the end of the day, these things just cause us to be hyper paranoid and they stunt our progress because they make us afraid to try things that can help us. So, okay, knowing all of this, what do you do with social media? I think that after a break from social media, because I personally believe everyone should take a break to completely kind of detox for a little bit from the dopamine hits, from the abundance of information, and just learn to live life again. But I think after that, it's good to view social media because it can provide you important information. But more importantly, you need to learn how to discern for yourself what's good and what's not. When you watch social media, you need to experiment on yourself, not be afraid to take the leap with certain things. But then if something doesn't work, recognize that it didn't work for you and there's maybe something else to try. But also to have the sense to say, hey, this intuitively doesn't feel right to me. I'm probably not going to do that. If someone is telling me that all doctors are wrong or all science is wrong, I'm probably gonna look into that myself before I just go and try it. It's walking that fine line between having access to information and absorbing information and allowing it to cloud our judgment and affect how we feel about our personal lives and our self-worth. So I wanted to make this video to tell you guys that social media can actually be quite detrimental to us without even realizing it. Whether you're someone who's currently feeling like you have low self-worth, you're having problems with perfectionism in your life, you're having analysis paralysis, you're having body dysmorphia, it might be worthwhile to check out how social media is really affecting you. And if you're someone who feels like you're going down this path, just know that it might be time for a detox and you need to come back when you're in a better spot mentally. So comment down below, did you find this video helpful? Is there anything else that you'd like me to discuss? And as always, if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Please don't stop now. Go ahead and watch one of the 2 videos that'll pop up on screen. Good luck detoxing from social media, and I'll see you in the next video.